Welcome to Hi-Fi and Stage Dives, a SoCan licensed podcast coming to you weekly from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Each week, I talk about a song that's been stuck in your head at one point or another, or stuff you've never heard before. Welcome to this musical journey. Hello and welcome back to Hi-Fi and Stage Dives. Thank you for joining me, as always, your host, Ivan. Today, we're going to be talking about a Canadian-American rock band called Big Wreck. The frontman, Mr. Ian Thornley, I've heard him been called a Chris Cornell ripoff. I don't feel it. I heard it a few times. I've heard a few people say it. There's some reputable, not even reputable people, but just people with some musical knowledge say it, and I couldn't disagree with them more. Big Wreck is not a Soundgarden ripoff in any way whatsoever. I think it's just because it kind of looks similar, but that's about it. I mean, some of their music? I don't know. I don't like it. If you think they're a Soundgarden ripoff, that's your opinion, but I think it sucks. Okay, let's get into it. So Big Wreck, a Canadian-American rock band formed by Ian Thornley in Boston, Massachusetts in 1994, and they disbanded in 2002, and Ian Thornley went on to a solo career with his own band, Thornley. In 2010, Ian Thornley and Brian Doherty reunited for a cross-Canada tour, playing both Big Wreck and Thornley songs. There was like a thing with, I don't know if he was like weird about it but he went through 3 different names, so obviously Big Wreck, Thornley, and then Ian Fletcher Thornley, and like that was the way he wanted it named. So one of the local radio stations here touched on it a little bit, but they never really got anything out of it. So whatever, let an artist be an artist, I guess. So their origins: Boston, Massachusetts, hard rock, alternative rock, neo-progressive rock, and post-grunge. Definitely the post-grunge era thing for sure, because it's years active, 94 to 2002, and they went on a very long hiatus for 8 years, then 2010 to present. Labels: Anthem, Atlantic, and I thought there was one more, but I guess I'm wrong. There's another one in here somewhere down the way. When I get into it, we'll talk about it. Their website, bigwreckmusic.com. Band members: Ian Thornley, Brian Doherty, David McMillan, and Chuck Keeping. Great fucking last name, Chuck. Chuck Keeping. Huh. I guess I could use that as an AKA for when I'm doing bad things. Much like Mr. Chad Parker. If you ever hear someone called Chad Parker, could be me. Who knows? Sometimes I prank people with the name Chad Parker. It's my alias. So Big Wreck was formed in Boston, Massachusetts by lead vocalist Ian Thornley, guitarist Brian Doherty, bassist Dave Henning, and drummer Forrest Williams, while they were studying at the Berklee College of Music. When I made my first incarnation of Sayers Ransom, one of my old bands, the drummer, my drummer, man, the guy was amazing. Chris. The guy is just on another level for drums. Just great. Definitely one of those guys when it comes to music that's definitely different and does stuff different, says things different, sees things different. But he's a good guy. He had his own demons. Some shit went down and he had to quit the band, unfortunately. Or we moved on without him because he just couldn't keep up. He had a whole bunch of things. I'm not going to get into it. That's his personal stuff. But he was great. He was going to go, the reason why my digression, he was going to actually go to the school, the Boston Berklee College of Music. No joke. Like, it's a serious school. He decided not to because he didn't, he said it was like, there was a lot of pressure in there, and there's like a lot of, they expected a lot of you when you're in there. It's like a whole nother planet when it comes to the Berklee Music College in Boston, especially for drumming. Like it's on another level. So I can see the intimidation. He was a quiet dude, not an introvert, but not an extrovert either. Like he was different, but I can see why it was intimidating. And you got to be on point to go to that school. And I'll talk about that after the feature song, which will be blown wide open, by the way, about Ian Thornley, because what he went there and stuff for. Okay. I just ramble. I thought this was going to be a short one because it was like the cleanest research I've ever done on a band. It was like everything was there. It was in the right forms. I didn't have to move everything around. Oh, I just keep talking and keep talking. And I thank you guys for listening. So after a few years of gigging in Boston, in the area, the band signed with Atlantic Records, and they released their debut album, In Loving Memory of... ... Like, implying there's more. In the U.S., their single, The Oath, My Luck Is Wasted, reached the top 10 on the Billboard's mainstream rock charts in early 98. Great song. Love that song, too. This band is different for me. his lyrics and his music, it's like I was listening to it. I forgot how fucking great this band was. I haven't listened to him in a long time. Drudged up a lot of weird memories. Took me some weird places. I like going back on memories, even if they're bad reminders of better times or just bad reminders of bad times. Like, it doesn't matter. It's cool. It makes you it brings the brain alive for myself, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a person to hold on to shit. I mean, unless you really cross me, then I'll fucking hold on to some shit. Even then, I've let shit go before that I probably shouldn't have let go, but I have. I'm an easy person to move on. So when I listen to this music, it brings me back to days of, like, just in a weird position where I was at the time. Like, I was younger. So 98, I would have been 18. 94, I was 14. It was a different spot for myself. Learning who I was, figuring out who I was. And I was very close to figuring out who I was. I was lucky in the aspect of that I figured out who I was at a very young age, or I had an idea of who I was at a very young age and where I wanted to go and stuff like that. I'm a very calm person, but I'm a very fiery person at the same time. The wife always says, "You're always angry." I might look angry on the outside. I have natural resting bitch face. It's true. Dudes have it too. I just look like I'm going to murder somebody all the time, apparently. So I do. I like look at some pictures and I'm like, okay, maybe I should look a little bit happier. But that's just my face. There's nothing I can do about it. Totally digressed, and I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, okay, so I figured out who I was. I was lucky. Like, on the outside, I look shitty, but on the inside, I'm a happy person. I'm very vocal about what I'm doing and very passionate, I guess. I can be very loud. I can be very angry at times, but I get angry and I'm happy. Just as fast as I can be angry is as fast as I can be happy. So the reason why I'm saying all this, I'll get to my point now, is that this music brought up a lot of memories of some times of, like, where I was a very angry person figuring out how not to be angry all the time, I guess, as a kid growing up, going through all the weird things. I come from a broken family, like 90% of the fucking world. But my way of dealing with it was music, and that's, a great alternative to drugs, alcohol, crime, what have you, all that fucking shitty shit. But yeah, it brought up all these memories of everything from meeting girls to causing ruckuses to smoking lots of weed and acid and mushrooms and all that good shit. But anyways, so as I was saying previously to my rant in early 98, as they hit the Billboard mainstreams, 4 months later, they followed up the single with that song. Great fucking song. Love it. It reached the top 40, fourth on the 40 hits on the Canadian single charts, which is good. I mean, around that time, there was a lot of music coming through from the States, and they hit 4 in Canada. I've been trying to figure out the difference between Canadian and American music. It's definitely not the musicianship. I mean, there are some Canadian bands that'll blow U.S. bands out of the water, and vice versa. There's amazing bands coming out of the States. Europe, I'm not even going to try and compare to, because Europe is a whole other breed of musicians. So, I don't know, maybe on this journey of music, we'll figure it out. I don't know. Because there's, like, Rush, for instance. Huge. Like, they're massive. They killed it. Not a huge Rush fan, but they killed it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a great... this is a great little journey. So after they followed up the single with that song, they went on a 17-stop tour to publicize the release. Big Wreck released their second album, Pleasure and Greed, in June 2001. A number of singles were released but failed to chart in both US and Canada. I went back and I was like listening, because like I said, I haven't listened to it in a while, but fucking Pleasure and Greed is a great album. There's some, I don't know, I love that album. When it came out, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a little different, but not like totally different. So in October that year, the band played a special show at Toronto's Roy Thompson Hall. This is cool. Accompanied by Toronto Symphony Orchestra, Uzum Teiko Ensemble of drummers, guitarist Eric Johnson, who is a fucking machine on guitar, and the Tragically Hip's Paul Langlois and Robbie Baker, 2 amazing Canadian musicians. They're great. I don't care what anybody says, they're fucking great. And you know they're great, because they fucking kick ass. So, 2002, so this is just a year later, the band broke up. Like, they broke up. Ian moved back to Toronto and formed the band Thornley. Brian Doherty moved to Kamalache, whatever the fuck, I can't even say it, a small community near Sarnia, Ontario, where he taught guitar for university or conservatory entrance requirements. That's no joke. So to get into music in a university, that means you have to be on point on fucking everything. Because you want to talk about music snobs? This is the biggest music snob of the world is a university. So, I mean, obviously not everybody, but that's what they're there to do. They want to make you a musician. I find that musicians, when you go to school, have not a stigma, but there's like a requirement of them. They're required to be a certain way, and I feel like it ruins a lot of musicians. Like, I know a lot of musicians that went to universities and colleges for music, and I feel like they're different from it. It not that it ruined them, but it made them, it like reprogrammed them to act and talk and to view music a certain way. And I get that's what they're supposed to do, but I feel like the humanity of it is gone, like the human side of it. For as much as there's technicalities in music, there's definitely that human factor in it. And if that human factor is not there, I think that's where a lot of musicians miss out, where you can be as technical as you want and be as good as you want and be the music snob that you want. That's absolutely fair. But when it comes down to it, if you ain't got no feeling to it, you ain't going to do shit. A perfect example is Yanni Malmsteen. Yanni Malmsteen can shred like a motherfucker, but the guy's a piece of shit, and his music isn't that good. It's good from a technical standpoint, but from a listening standpoint, it's not that good. And then people are going to be like, oh, well, what about symphonic music, symphony music? That's totally different. Like Beethoven, the way it's written, it's totally written different. It's technical, but it's also written from a place that it feels like it's there. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted what I'm saying and get mad at what I'm saying right now, because I know Yanni Malmsteen is writing from where he feels. But like Yanni Malmsteen, he says faster and technical is always better no matter what. I get it, but no. Music isn't like that, and everybody knows that. Like, for those who don't know who I'm talking about, Yanni Malmsteen, go check him out. Like, don't get it twisted. The guy is fucking amazing, and he's great. And there's some songs that I like, I can get behind, but some of I'm just like, it's too much. When too much of a good thing becomes not good is exactly what it is. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, they broke up after that, 2002. 2010, though, they had themselves a little reunion, and they released a single called Albatross. You know what? And Albatross was fucking great. I never got to listen to that album because I wasn't lucky enough to have a Spotify, and Apple Music was just coming around at that point, and Apple Music was very, very shitty and still is. But I went back and listened to it just like today, and it was fucking great. Like, I'm glad I did this. At first, I was like, okay, I'm going to do Big Wreck. And I was kind of like, yeah, Big Wreck would be awesome. And I looked into it, I'm like, And then I started like doing the research and listening. I'm just like, fucking thank you. Again, thank you guys very much, because if it wasn't for this, I would not have refound Big Wreck and all the awesome fucking music that they put in it. I also found that as I got older, music that I used to listen to, I listen to different now. It feels different. It sounds different. I think instead of taking it for what it was, I'm taking it for what it is. Does that make sense? Like, back then I'd be like, oh, it's a fucking awesome song. Yeah, listen to it. Yeah, it's awesome. But now it's like I go back and I listen. I'm like, this is a fucking amazing song. Everything that's involved in it, including the songs on the rest of the album. I don't know if that's from just getting older and playing music and from a technical standpoint and all that good stuff, and really having to play music and listen to music. For the past 10 years, when I finally stopped my band playing music like the way I have. So, like, again, thank you very much. So in 2010, Doherty filled as the guitarist at a Thornley show, and that led to Doherty joining the band as a permanent member. A tour promoted as an evening with Thornley and Big Wreck. So Ian Thornley, the frontman, obviously, and Big Wreck, because there was that whole split up thing, obviously. But there was weird. I couldn't find anything on it, but there's like this weird thing, right? Like I said, so I don't know if there was like some legalities or maybe whatever. Someone didn't agree with it or whatever. As a result of the tour success, the band assumed the Big Wreck moniker. So they went on and they started doing it again, including the existing members of Thornley in the new Big Wreck. November of 2011, Big Wreck released their first song in 10 years, Albatross, as the lead single of their 2012 album of the same name, Albatross. So the album Albatross and the single Albatross. The song achieves chart success in both US and Canada. There was one, I want to maybe it was that album, or one of their songs went to number 4, and that's the highest they've ever been on US charts, which is no joke. Hit number 1 in the US, you're contending with a lot of pop music. So for them to hit number 4, that's no joke. Like, They did hella good. February 5th, 2012, Big Wreck performed at the Sound Academy in Toronto for Canada's official Super Bowl 46 party. That's pretty rad. I guess that's their halftime show? I don't know. I don't know how that worked, but that's pretty cool. They also completed 2 tours that year, touring Canada from British Columbia to Ontario. No reason why they didn't go to Quebec, but I think it's because of they did that from April to July. July. Can I say July anymore? Weird. They then accompanied Theory of a Dead Man for their Jingle Bells Rock tour from November to December. So maybe that's when they went into East Coast. 2014, the band released their 4th studio album, Ghosts. I never listened to this album. I listened to one song off this album, and then I started listening to this album. Holy shit, it's good. The album was released in US and Canada on the 10th of June, 2014, and it reached number 5 on the top 200 SoundScan charts in Canada, hit 25 in the US Billboard's Heartseeker albums, and they were nominated that year for Rock Album of the Year at the Junos in 2015. Basically, the Junos for us is the equivalent to the Grammys in the States. Obviously, it doesn't hold... Well, I mean, I can't say it doesn't hold as much merit. Now it does. Then it wouldn't, or not then, but to previous years, it wouldn't have, because obviously there's more, everybody's moving to California to play music, or they're moving to New York to play music. No one's moving to Vancouver or Toronto or Montreal to play music, right? Now they are. Back then, hell no. But that's just progression of everything, right? So, in November 2016, Big Wreck released a new single, One More Piece of Me, off their upcoming album, Grace Street. Grace Street was released February 3rd, 2017. Another great song, great album. I'm glad that they stuck around. I don't know what the deal was with the Ian Thornley and the Big Wreck and Thornley and Ian Fletcher Thornley and all that good stuff, but who knows, sometimes shit just doesn't come out. And you know what's cool about it, though, now that I think about it, is it's pretty rad that they did that, because they're keeping their shit out of the public. That's rad, man. That's a big thing for a band to do. So, but now let's get into this feature song, Blown Wide Open. I picked this song because I like this song a lot. I was gonna use that song or The Oath, but I decided on Blown Wide Open because I like that song. I mean, things he says in it just means a lot to me. So this will be Blown Wide Open. Sit back, enjoy.
By the things I thought I'd put away, and I'm all surrounded by the things I thought I'd put away. There's a pile in my closet, that's where I threw some yesterday. Call
Hi. So that was Blown Wide Open. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it, because I enjoyed it a lot. That song, I picked it over the singles and stuff like that because I just honestly enjoyed that song. Maybe one of my favorite songs by them. It's definitely up in my top 3, that's for sure. Maybe number 1? I don't know. I couldn't say it's number 1, but it's definitely top 3, that's for sure. So I'm going to talk a little bit I'm going to speak English at some point. I'm going to talk about Mr. Ian Thornley. A little bit about Mr. Ian Thornley. And I'll probably ramble on like I normally fucking do. And that'll be her. Mr. Ian Thornley, born and raised in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Oh, Canada, baby. Oh, Canada. That's where this podcast is coming from. Straight into your ear holes from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. What's up? Speaking of which, we are stuck in a winter frozen hell for some goddamn reason. I wish it would just stop snowing, for fuck's sakes. Please, the gods of weather, stop the snow. Please. I want it to be warm. Just stop the snow and let it warm. I'm not asking like 15. I'm 10. 10, just some double digit 10. Just like 10 degrees. Don't care. And no snow. Please, no more snow. Okay. So, like I said, I would talk about him. So, Ian Thornley studied jazz music at the Boston Berklee College of Music. And that ain't no joke, in the 90s, and formed the band Big Wreck in 93. So, hypothetically, if he was only in school for 3 years, and he was taking jazz, the dude learned some serious technical abilities. And obviously the music is good because he learned his technical stuff, and he's got some feels to it. So in 2002, he returned to Toronto, where he played as a session. So 2002, that's right after their breakup. But in 2002, Thornley returned to Toronto, where he played as a session musician. This kind of chaps my ass on albums by Nickelback. Gross. See, okay, hold on. That there, right there. I just made this put this together. Nickelback, so goddamn shitty that they had to get a real musician to come in and record their stuff for them and actually write some music for them because they fucking suck. I said it time and time again. Nickelback could have been something great. They were just lucky that they caught a train that just boosted them to where they were with their generic fucking bullshit. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Nickelback is garbage. It's shit. You'll write a song. I'll fucking write 10 fucking songs for you, motherfucker. Anyways, now that I'm done being angry, he went and did he did studio sessions for Nickelback, Sarah Harmer, Stephen Fearing before launching Thornley. So that's what he did. Maybe that's what he makes money. Obviously, he got paid pretty good. Then he released first album Come Again in 2004. The follow-up record Come Again, titled Tiny Pictures, was released in Canada in February 10th, 2009 via 604 Records, which is owned by Mr. Chad Kroeger of Nickelback. The album was produced and mixed by Nick Razalizu. I am not going to be able to pronounce his name, but this fucking producer has produced some serious albums with some serious bands. Deftones at the top of my list, I'll just say that. It's a bunch of other bands. Like, great producer. The guy's no fucking joke. So, 604 Records. Okay, I'll give one thing to Chad Kroeger. Not a fan of his music or his writing abilities because I think he fucking sucks. But, from a business standpoint, he's got it pretty much nailed. I'll give him that. In the fall of 2010, Mr. Ian Thornley started touring with ex-bandmate Brian Doherty, like I said before, from Big Wreck. And Ian has seemingly stopped calling the band Thornley and is officially touring under his full name, Ian Fletcher Thornley. So that was where I was talking about how he wanted the name to be Ian Fletcher Thornley. I don't know if it's a legal thing or that's just what he wanted to go under. November 26, 2010, they were billed as Ian Thornley and Big Wreck at the Edmonton Great Cup Festival. Bringing it back home, right here to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The world, it's a freezer. I live in a freezer. I seriously contemplated moving to California at one point when I was shoveling snow. I just can't do it anymore, guys. The snow's killing me inside. There's little pieces of me dying because of the snow. My eyes are watering right now talking about it. I am not talking about it. And then Thornley left 604 Records. Fuck you, Nickelback. In 2011 and signed with Anthem/SOSRO. That's what I was talking about way earlier. During this time, he reunited with his former Big Wreck bandmates Brian Doherty and resurrected the group. That's when they came back. I'm glad they did because I want more music from them. And hopefully I'll get to see him. I never got to see him. I missed him twice. I want to say I saw them once when I was younger, but I can't say for sure, so I'm going to say I didn't because I don't remember it. I'm an idiot. I missed them 2 times within a year that they came here. And my friend Naomi from the band 6 String Loaded here in Edmonton told me, go see him. He's fucking amazing live. I should have went. I don't know why I didn't go. I'm an idiot. Like I said, I'm not going to miss bands anymore. There's a really great band coming called Tesseract. I'm not going to get into that. I'll do them later too. If you haven't heard these guys before, go check them out. Like, seriously, they're great melodies, great music. I don't know. I like what he says. It's a great band. Go check them out. So on Facebook, on his website, Ian announced a new solo album under his birth name, Ian Fletcher Thornley, titled Secrets, on October 9th, 2015, with the release of the title track and album art. The album was released October 30th, 2015. That was Mr. Ian Thornley. Ian Fletcher Thornley. Great musician, obviously very talented, obviously very fucking smart. So let's talk about some of his influences. His early influences were folk blues, acoustic styles, and later the electric blues of Buddy Guy. I totally get it. I totally understand, and I'm totally feeling what they're picking up, throwing down there, and picking up what they're throwing down there. It's got all those fucking flavors. At the age of 15, he got into rock and roll, but it was a lot mellower, melodic, rock-like. Supertramp's a great band. He also cites Bruce Cock as an influence to his guitar playing. Ian's first concert was Bruce Springsteen, the boss. It was after that show that he knew that's exactly what he wanted to do, which is fucking amazing. Bruce Springsteen, great live. I'm not a huge Springsteen fan. I do like some of the songs. I gotta find like a best of him, I think, and I'll be something to listen to. Because there's a lot of wicked songs that he does, but there's also a lot of very country-esque feels to it. I'm not a huge country fan, as I stated multiple times. I can say, I think, when I write my music, when I write songs, there's just like that thing where you grab it, it just comes from somewhere. But you get influenced, obviously. Like one of my songs, like I've said before, was called Leather and Chrome, and it was 100% inspired by the Deftones' Passenger, which is featured with Mr. Maynard James Keenan, Tool, and Pacifier. I feel like you don't like rip a song off, but there's like things about it that make you write a certain way, and like lyrics that come out a certain way because of it, because of things they've said. I was actually listening while I was doing the research for this. I was listening to Led Zeppelin, and there's one song, the end of a song, where they do like this little outro, mini blend outro thing. Tea Party. That's where they got it from, and then like the Tea Party version, it sounds like they ripped it off. They didn't. They made it their own, but that's where that went with my whole thought process behind it, was that the inspirations of past music to future music to now music, it all comes from somewhere, be it a song that you heard or a lyric you heard, a melody you heard, and it doesn't even have to be a full song. It can just be 4 bars of something and bang, you got it. And that's happened to me before too, so it's not a joke. Inspirations for life, period, come from everywhere. That's why I say music is the soundtrack to my life. If I could have music everywhere I walk, it'd be great. Like, I'm not talking earphones. I mean like ambient music. It's like like a movie, you know, and you know when something bad's gonna happen because the ominous music and the strings come in, or like, oh god, something's coming around the corner. I know it would make life really predictable, but I think it would be great. That's why I listen to music. I listen to music all the time because it makes life better. And if you don't think music makes life better, there's something wrong with you. And you're probably not listening to my podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing and liking and all that good stuff. And there's ever anything you needed to say or anything, leave a message. Follow me on all that social media. That's great and garbage at the same time. It's a thing. Thank you very much. Much love. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you again for listening to Hi-Fi and Stage Dives. It means the world to me. I'm glad you could come on this journey with me, and we'll keep doing it every week. Subscribe, rate and review, all that good stuff, and keep listening to music, because it only makes life better. And we'll see you on the flip side. Stay rad.